Green MP Chlöe Swarbrick should resign immediately. New Zealand Green Party co-leader Chlöe Swarbrick wrote to the European Union in April 2026 requesting an independent investigation into whether the New Zealand coalition government's policies were in breach of the New Zealand-European Union Free Trade Agreement. The European Union officially responded last week discarding her request for an investigation.
The EU has promised to cut its carbon emissions by 55% by 2030. That's going to be very hard and it's going to be very costly, and a lot of people are very upset. They've also promised by 2040 to reduce it by 90%. That's just going to be impossible, and it's going to be phenomenally costly if they try. So sometimes between 2030 and 2040, this is going to break and we're going to stop.
A breach of sovereignty. Chlöe Swarbrick requesting a foreign power to investigate New Zealand is political betrayal. There is a fundamental rule that domestic political disputes are fought and decided at home by the citizens of that nation. Green Party co-leader Chlöe Swarbrick's decision to petition a foreign superpower to investigate and potentially severely penalise New Zealand represents an unprecedented and dangerous breach of national sovereignty. In some countries, she would be executed for such political betrayal. By begging the European Union to weaponise a trade agreement against her own country was an act of treason. Swarbrick did not display moral courage. Instead, she showed a profound contempt for the voters of New Zealand and a reckless disregard for the livelihoods of working-class Kiwi families. Her actions could easily have led to more unemployed and more homeless, the very people she purports to care about. New Zealand's Hitler. The most egregious aspect of Swarbrick's actions is her utter hypocrisy regarding the very people she claims to protect. Had the European Union acted on her letter and launched an investigation, the ultimate enforcement mechanism would have been economic sanctions or punitive tariffs. These penalties would not have hurt business-class flyer Chlöe Swarbrick herself, or the Green Party, or any politicians in Wellington for that matter, but they would have devastated New Zealand's regional export economies, driving down wages and destroying jobs in farming, processing, logistics and more. It would even have pushed some people over the edge to commit suicide. In an economic downturn triggered by foreign intervention, it is low-income families who suffer first and hardest through job losses and inflation. To risk the economic survival of regular New Zealanders to score an ideological point on the global stage is a disqualifying failure of political leadership, for which Swarbrick should resign immediately from the Green Party at an absolute bare minimum. An act of betrayal. Moreover, Swarbrick's actions not only betray New Zealand, she has deliberately weaponised a well-known, well-publicised, deeply flawed metric in an attempt to publicly shame a nation that is already doing its honest best. New Zealanders have made immense sacrifices to build an electricity grid that is over 80% renewable, and local farmers are among the most carbon-efficient food producers on earth. To ignore this massive successful national effort and exploit a nonsensical, skewed, mathematical per capita paradox, which merely reflects a small human population feeding millions globally, is deliberately misleading and destructive. The per capita paradox. I have covered the per capita paradox several times in previous videos. As a very brief, quick reminder, an island with 1 cow and 1 human will have zero effect on global pollution, but they will have a massive per capita pollution ratio. Take away the 1 human being, and that same island would have an infinitely huge per capita pollution ratio. Swarbrick is well aware of this paradox and has deliberately used it to harm New Zealand. This is treason. Conclusion. If a policy disagreement arises within our borders, the correct venue for change is the ballot box, not the courts of Brussels. By trying to bypass the democratic will of the New Zealand electorate through foreign economic coercion, Swarbrick committed an act of political betrayal that undermines the very fabric of our independent nation, and she should resign or be prosecuted, effective immediately. Thank you for listening. WhangāreiTim.